City Council Chamber. It is July 23rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. May I have a roll call, Jack?
Yes. Commissioner Gold?
Here.
Commissioner Lawrence?
Here.
Commissioner Melendez?
Here.
Commissioner Pizzoli notified us that she would be absent. Commissioner Tanner?
Here.
And Commissioner and Vice Chair O'Brien Herrera notified us she would be absent. And Chair Christian Kelly?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Let's all stand up and salute to the flag. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry. Okay. Approve order of agenda. I would like to move to put J1 before the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve? All in favor of that?
I make
Second.
a motion to, yeah, whatever. You jumped in.
Is there,
I second the motion.
I just needed a, yeah. So Melendez
Sure.
and then
I'll second the motion.
and Lawrence seconds that emotion, the motion.
Thank you.
Blue folder items, additional backup materials. Blue folder items are additional backup materials to administer reports and/or public comments received after the printing and distribution of the agenda packet for receive and file.
Pardon me, Chair, we didn't vote on the motion.
So sorry, I truly apologize. Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, the motion carries. Shall I repeat what I just said? It's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right, I apologize. Are there any blue folder items for tonight's meeting, Jack?
Yes, there is one. It's a letter from Richard McQuillan. And that would be a vote to receive and file.
Yes.
Is there a motion?
Yes, can we have a motion?
I make a motion.
A second?
Second.
Okay, Gold. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay. J1, discussion regarding the role and responsibilities of the Cultural Arts Commission. Thank you so much, Jack, and thank you, Mayor, for coming tonight.
So just a quick preface. In October of 2024, a number of our advisory commissions were consolidated and reconstituted, including the former Public Art Commission, which became the current Cultural Arts Commission. Since that time, a number of commissioners have expressed some uncertainty as to their roles and purview and how exactly the city intends this to work. Since our Mayor Jim Light is a strong supporter of the arts as part of Redondo life, he's graciously agreed to appear tonight and answer any questions you may have about your work on the Cultural Arts Commission.
Wonderful.
I don't know how to turn this one on. Do you have that control?
It's on.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay, thank you. My name is Jim Light. I'm the mayor of Redondo Beach. And thanks for asking the question, so I appreciate it. And thanks to all of you for serving. I know you don't get paid for this. I was a commissioner for 8 years, and I know it's a time commitment, so I appreciate that. So the primary role of any commission is to take workload off the council, to advise the council, and to perform any assigned tasks. So with that, I'm sure you've all read your portion of the ordinance. So just really truncating that, acting as advisor to the council on all matters pertaining to public art in Redondo Beach, making recommendations to the city council on guidelines, artistic criteria for public art and acquisition of public art, artwork commissioning, and creation of public art infrastructure. Third, to make recommendations for a prioritized list of public art projects. Fourth, to stimulate public interest in public arts and programs and projects. And then the last one, I think, is what maybe what you have questions on. That's making recommendations to the city council related to performing arts events and programs. So I interpret that as what you're looking for guidance on. I will say this commission has been very productive for the council. A lot of the artwork that has been approved, you guys have done all the front work on, and we appreciate that. I don't know if you got to go down to the skate park and see your art mural there, but that's a very vibrant addition to that area that was a blank cement wall for decades. So thank you for your work there. As to specific tasks, just like anything else, you get your tasking from basically three sources. First, the liaison puts tasks on your agenda for you guys to discuss, debate, vote on, and give guidance. Second, the city manager can task you guys. For example, he goes to all commissions during budget season and asks for inputs on the budget. And so that gets delivered to the council as we debate and deliberate what we want to do with the budget. And then the final area is for the council to actually direct directly to the commission, activities we'd like you to do. For the big example you guys are doing now is Artesia was direction from the council. And so those are the sources of where others task you. You also have the ability to agendize your own activities in referrals to staff. Now that has to be within the scope of your purview, and the liaison does get the chance to weigh in on that. However, if the liaison disagrees and you disagree and you're vehement about it, you can always ask the council, send something up to the council to ask us to deliberate on it. Also in that, you have to measure whether your tasking in that requires, if it's something you want to debate amongst yourselves to give guidance to potentially give guidance to the council, and it doesn't require work of staff and it's arts related, I can see of no reason why that would be denied. But if it does require a lot of staff legwork, you don't have the ability to direct staff to do work. So that's up to the liaison to come back to you and tell you whether that whatever you're asking is too much workload, and therefore, he's not going to put it on the agenda. But as always, you can always ask the council for guidance on that. So you disagree and you'd like the council's guidance. Now, some of the things, you were picked here because of your involvement in arts, and I'm an engineer, so I'm a very structured thinker. I'm not an arts guy. I love art, but I wouldn't let me pick what art we put in the city. So you're here because of your background in art, your love of art, and your desire to promulgate it throughout the city. So some of the things, I can think of that pertain to this new area that we don't have today necessarily, or things like, if you want to do you thought it would be good to do like a poetry in the park program with an open mic, like in the amphitheater at the Wilderness Park. It's an underused resource. People would love to go there. It might be a good evening. Or if you want to do something, music in the park, same type of thing. There's a group there that plays every Sunday, but it's outside the park. And, it doesn't cost the city anything. You just put out there, hey, we're going to do an open mic thing. And we just schedule that for the amphitheater with the approval of staff and looking at the schedule to make sure nobody else has reserved it. Another area I thought, we've done now, the city has funded for 2 years now Shakespeare by the Sea in 2 different locations, Dominguez Park and Veterans Park. Do you guys like that? Do you support that? Should the city continue to fund that? Or, what's your thoughts on that? Another, something that has died here that I actually like to go see was they used to do once a year chalk art down in the harbor along the splash wall. I think COVID killed that, and that might be something to revitalize. I actually already spoke to the new association down in the harbor about potentially sponsoring that today. And then just overall, looking at things like the city puts out as summer programs for people to get education or experiences through city-sponsored or back to training and facilitating and that. So take a look at that for the city music program offerings, and maybe there's other ideas you might have on things like that. So that's just, me sitting down and brainstorming, but you guys are the ones who love art and can think of ways to promulgate it. And so that's what we're looking for you. If the council sees an area, we'll task you, but that doesn't mean you can't make progress without the council. Again, for you to put something on the agenda item just to debate and discuss amongst yourselves and deliberate, you can do that as long, but you can't really say, staff, I want to, something that's going to take 150 hours to go scour every community here for what programs they have and come back and report to us. So, kind of that gives you some guidelines. And I'm open to questions. If that wasn't clear enough for you or it didn't answer the questions you have, I'm here to answer any questions.
I would say let's start with commission, and maybe it's best to go maybe from right to left. So can we start with Commissioner Tanner?
Well, first of all, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a pleasure to have you here. And I also want to thank you for your vision together with the council to actually enlarge the scope of what used to be the Public Art Commission. I think it's fantastic. It had to be done for a long time, so you did it. We have been discussing this for a very long time. And Redondo Beach is very lucky in a sense because we have beautiful facilities such as the Performing Arts Center and other types of venues as well. But so far, there wasn't really a coordinated effort to basically think about what the cultural life in Redondo Beach was going to be. So we have discussed this among ourselves over our last 3 or 4 meetings about what our mission is going to be. And as you just said, we also tend to think in a very broader scope of not only public art, where we originated from, which is pretty much has been murals and statues, but as you said, concerts, programs. And so if I may just suggest one thing, just the way that you encouraged us to come to the council, you may also want to bring some of the people who directly come to the council and who want to get involved in any kind of artistic activity, such as organizing a festival or a concert or something like that, to actually come and swing by here first. That will give you a chance to, understand what they are up to, because, most of the events like that happening, they tend to be long-term events. So, we may want to get involved in a discussion. And I know this is not a question, but I don't really get the chance to see you that often in our commission. So just bear with me for one more moment. One of the things that I have been arguing about our involvement with this commission is what I call the 2 anchor properties of Redondo Beach. One of them is the old AES facility.
The AES?
Yes. And the power plant. And the other one is the Galleria. It seems to me, and we discussed this, that there could be tremendous benefits to the negotiation power of the city about if there is an art element in the future projects, whether it's a museum, another amphitheater, or whatever. My personal dream has been to actually install a satellite museum of one of the larger museums in Los Angeles into a portion of the AES plant, the power plant. There have been examples of this all around the world. The most famous one is the Tate Museum in London, which attracts millions and millions of people every year, and high quality, very high quality visitors, and year round and 7 days a week. So, and there is tremendous support by the county as well as the state in incorporating art elements into large-scale projects like that. So please keep that in mind, and we would love to help the council when it comes to this, and the other property being the Galleria. So that's all I wanted to say, and I thank you very much, and I just leave it to my fellow commissioners.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
AES depends on what comes up out of the bankruptcy hearings, and if we can, we'd like to take control of that site, but that's not a foregone conclusion. It's all up to a judge right now, and we've been waiting over 2 years now for that process to end, but that keeps being delayed. The Galleria, I would have hoped, had broken ground already, but they had trouble getting funding. Now they're coming back with entitlements for more housing, and they're putting it on the market. We've seen the pamphlet that they're putting that property on the market. So I think their plan is to get entitlements for the housing to make it worth more and then put it out to the market for that. So we can't really engage until someone comes forward with a project. And same with if we don't get the AES site, the property owner who gets it, the Pastilnikov, one of the things we can try to impose is art requirements. Now, state mandates have tied our hands on some of that. He has to be a willing participant, but to the extent he has commercial or other type of uses on the property, we can impose those kind of standards.
Thank you.
So I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Commissioner Melendez.
Yeah, hi. How you doing, Mayor? It's nice to meet you. It's kind of weird to be on this side of something versus you being where you're supposed to
I'm
be.
used to being on both sides.
Yeah, I get it. Having been on the commission before 8 years, in your experience, and what are the major differences for us now? Like, for the most part, when I came on, we've inherited a lot of projects, and then some of the ones that came about were from the public. Being now that we're cultural arts managers, the music component and the performing arts portion of things, like some of my questions are like, where are some of those programs or the talent that comes through for the Performing Arts Center or the music component of this thing? Like, where's that coming from? Where are those ideas generated from? And
Actually, the best gentleman to answer that, sitting right
Yeah.
there, he's your liaison.
Honestly, we rent the theater out.
Yeah.
So we don't really control any of the content. They come to us with an event that they wish to produce or present, and then we handle the technical aspects, providing the venue, all of the support services. Basically, we're a theater for hire.
Okay.
So at this time, we are not engaging in any specific programming of our own.
So there is a calendar that we would be afforded of what's not rented, right? Like that would make more sense is like for us, like to see what gaps we have. But
Yeah.
how often would an actor, performing person have to book us in advance? Those kind of things, like the mechanics of
Yeah,
that
well,
kind of stuff.
He runs it,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's
for
your
sure.
best
This is information we
source
can
of
provide.
I
information.
appreciate you pointing me. And then again, like in your experience, having been on the commission now, I guess back then what would you tell us now with our newly minted powers of like, what would we be doing in addition to what we're already doing? Like what do you see us outside of like Shakespeare in the Park? And I did the chalk art. I like that. So like that, for example, how do we get that going?
Well, I think what you could do is, in your referrals to staff, ask to agendize it for discussion at a future meeting, and then that would appear on your agenda, assuming you're not tasking staff to do too much work. And then you deliberate it, and if you come to a consensus, and it doesn't have to be 100%, it can be, just a majority, then you can either write your own letter to the city council, or you can ask your liaison to relay your recommendation to the city council. Now, what we would do on the Harbor Commission for the more complex thing is we would set up a subcommittee, which has to be less than your quorum, and we would authorize them to take the discussions of the Harbor Commission and memorialize it in a memo, and then that memo would get sent by that subcommittee to the council. In some cases, if it was too, some of the commission still had concerns about the exact wording, we would bring it back in a subsequent meeting and then vote on the letter itself.
So with that, that's kind of what I'm asking. So let's say we come up with some kind of musical thing. There's a lot of intricacies of that, like the lyrics and stuff like that, as far as music's concerned. Like if one of us comes up with an idea, like you said, we got the amphitheater, we got the Performing Arts Center or something like that, we would just use the same kind of process and everything, and we would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd ask staff there to weigh in just on availability and,
Yeah. Okay.
can we do it there? Like if you want, something that requires 3,000 watts of power in the amphitheater, we only have one 110 outlet that may overtax that
Okay.
outlet. But, you know, to get those kind of facts, which I wouldn't think would be too hard for staff to come back with.
Okay.
And don't think just of the amphitheater in Wilderness Park. Veterans Park has a natural amphitheater. You know, we've got a lot of great places that we could do things at. Seaside Lagoon, when it's out of season, we'd love to operationalize that and activate it, you know, during the off months. So, you know, think of all the city as a potential asset for this kind of things. And I would encourage you to think outside the box, but, you know, it's got to be in the realm of doable. You don't want unobtainium, what we call it in engineering.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Lawrence?
First of all, thank you for showing up today, Mayor Light. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here on the council. And I just made a couple of notes. So first of all, I want to support Commissioner Tanner and his idea for the museum. I think it's a really special idea.
So let me
And
stop you there. That's kind of not agendized.
Yeah, it's not
So if that's something you
agendized.
want to push, you should agendize it.
Okay,
We shouldn't debate that here because
okay,
it's not because it's not agendized properly.
got it. Okay, well, we'll make sure to do that. So
I heard what he said, so.
yeah, and I just want to say that I'm in support of that. And then I have a question. I love the idea of like having chalk art, and I wrote down your ideas that you had, so I think we'll discuss them further and try to agendize some of those ideas as well. One thing that I just wanted to ask about is, you know, if we're talking about performing arts and all of that, there are some things that already are happening in town, one of which would be the music on the pier that happens through the summer. Is that something that falls underneath us now, or is that, I don't even know how that's actually run.
So Elizabeth, that's out of community services. But if you have suggestions out of here that relate to it, you're welcome to tackle that.
That's actually a peer association.
I'm sorry?
The music concerts on the pier are run by the peer
Who
association.
gets approval? That's community services, right?
Waterfront.
Okay. So that's out of WED, but if you have ideas there, you're certainly welcome to recommend them to the city council.
Yeah, I just wonder
You know,
if
one of
we
the things I
start
just
taking
got
those
today
things
was,
on, or,
we used to do movies on the pier.
yeah.
Somebody gave me feedback that we aren't doing that anymore. We kind of turned it into a skate park, but there's potentially other areas we could do, you know, movies. And I think we are doing movies at somewhere, aren't we? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's another thing. And then, yeah, I just wanted to mention as well, just like while you're here, that I think we have discussed a little bit about the Olympics coming into town and maybe having some like art hub here or some sort of draw that brings in people than tourists, because Redondo started out as actually a destination town back in the day, and there would be postcards and people would come to town to get postcards and then send it out to their families all over the world. And I thought that that could be such a great echo if we could somehow like historically bring that through into like today and have something that, you know, maybe digital postcards or, you know, like things like that, that we could possibly draw people here from that. And I think that arts could be the way of doing that. And that's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Gold?
Hi, thank you so much for being here, Mayor Light, and I'm so glad you won. Anyways, I just want to say thank you. I don't have any questions.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for being here. My question is just simply funding. So what it all entails as far as the John Parsons, you know, fund, and then with all of these new now extra medias that go into it, where does that fall? Do we ask and research for grants? Do we, for like NEA, do we go just heavily research and that's part of us too? Or is it something like, as the city, we have to look, like you said, it depends on what it is, like Seaside Lagoon on offset months, then the cost. My question is, I guess, is the cost for some of these.
Yeah, well, I think the cost has to be part of your recommendation, and then the council will consider, you know, what's our sources and what's our means to do that, and if we have the capability. Obviously, if you get that before budget season, we can budget for it the next year. Now, for example, if it's not in the budget and it's substantial, you know, we'd have to look at the midterm when we get the mid-year
Sure.
budget and see if there's money left over for something. But if you have ideas for grants and things like that, I don't think on Harbor Commission, we ever actually applied for grants as a commission. But I know I have volunteered as a resident to help write grants when required.
Wonderful. And now we can,
Is that all you had for me?
yeah, would anybody else like to?
Well, thanks for asking the question. I hope I answered it adequately and excited about, like I said, I'm not art. My brain doesn't work in the art realm, but I love art. I love to see it. I'm just not the right guy to choose it. So really looking forward to what you guys come up with. I really enjoy the mural. And I'm looking forward to the one that's going up on Public Works as well. And then the wave sculpture seems to have been, moved around and just has taken forever, but I'm looking forward to break ground on that as well. So you guys are doing good work. The Artesia thing could be very exciting. We're looking forward to what we get. I think you got a consultant working up a strategy, and then you guys will go through that, and then it'll come to council. So looking forward to your work there and expanding it to performing arts and cultural arts, not just sculptures and paintings and murals. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank you
so
for making the
much.
time
Thank
for
you.
us tonight.
Okay.
Consent calendar.
Consent calendar, yeah. Consent calendar, okay. Business items, except those formally noticed for public hearing or discussion, are assigned to consent calendar. The commission members may request that any consent calendar items be removed, discussed.
Beg your pardon,
and acted-
Chair. Public comments on that item, I'm told, on the mayor's discussion item. But we need to
That's
ask
what I
if there
thought,
were,
but then you just put me to, okay, so I just want to make sure.
so we need to ask if there's
Yeah.
any public comments.
That's what I thought, so I just want to make sure. Okay, are there any, yes, apologize. Any public, is there anybody that would like to come out and discuss? Okay, thank you.
Georgette Cantner, District 2. I was just going to say, as far as finding groups for performance, maybe there could be some kind of a situation, and I don't know how other cities do it. Torrance would be a good example, maybe even El Segundo. But maybe there's like a call for performers, like you would do a call for proposal for an art project. Maybe you could put that out there to people. And maybe, I don't know if this is legal or not, you guys will figure all this out, but maybe for the first year or so, you ask that maybe they can either defer their fee or maybe charge a little bit less to pay. I hate not paying musicians. That's like, I used to hire them and I never would do it, but it's something to consider. And then grants, of course, but maybe that is something that can happen where you put that out to the public and then you get response and you can start the ball rolling. And as far as the Performing Arts Center, I was thinking in terms of, my idea would be like a children's choir or a children's band or orchestra. So maybe there's somebody out in the community that says, I'll do it. I'd love to do that. Maybe that starts the ball rolling. Maybe they don't get paid or they get paid a little bit, however that works. But that can start the ball rolling too. And I think it's going to be exciting. And that's great that the mayor was here. I think that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody like to?
Hello, Council. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Jonathan Anderson. I'm the gallery director for Vifa Gallery. You may have heard of us. We're located off of Torrance on Hawthorne Boulevard. But we are South Bay's newest contemporary art gallery, and we are, sorry? Oh, no, sorry.
Don't we
But
talk
I'm
about-
here with my family, my mother, the CEO, and brother Gabriel. We are very invested into changing the cultural landscape of the South Bay, and we are working with some of the most phenomenal artists in the world. We are fully capable, and they have done projects that would make your jaw drop. And when talking about economic development through sculptural and art projects, I have one of the biggest artists in the world that I'm representing. And I would like to formally invite you to his speaking session at Vifa Gallery on August 2nd. He will be there from 2 to 4, or no, 4 to 6, with remarks beginning at 4:30. I have a little packet presentation for you guys to check out, if it might be okay to pass it on to in there.
Yeah,
I only have
to
3
accept,
copies
receive,
left.
and file.
Second file.
We're going to receive and file.
Okay, receive and file. I have it digitally too that I could send off, so, but
Yeah, can I have a motion to
I make motion.
second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Motion carries. Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I got an email about this.
This is in preparation for a January 31st exhibition we're doing of Andy Scott. Andy is most notably the largest horse equine sculptor in the world, but he's capable of doing almost anything. His latest sculpture, The Kelpies, which launched 8 years ago, has brought over $98 million year over year in revenue through tourism. And he just launched about 2 months ago, The Calling in Minnesota. It's a 90 feet wingspan bird jumping out. My thoughts for Andy are to get a whale somewhere along the coastline over here, or anything that we can come up with, but we are very good friends with him, and like I said, would be honored to have you guys come to the gallery, meet the artist, see what he's about, and see if there's any ways we can collaborate to do something incredible, ideally before the Olympics. So, thank you all, and
Thank
I hope to see you
you.
at the gallery August 2nd.
Congratulations and thank you.
Good timing.
Anyone else? No?
Any other?
Really talented.
Any other?
What's that?
Any other comments?
No, was there anything on, aren't we supposed to see if there's anything on, no comment?
No comments.
No comments, okay. So then we can move on, right? Okay. Consent calendar, yes. Business items except those formally noticed for public hearing or discussion are assigned to the consent calendar. The commission members may request that any consent calendar items be removed, discussed, and acted upon separately. Items removed from the consent calendar will be taken upon the excluded consent calendar section below. Those items remaining on the consent calendar will be approved in one motion following oral communications. Okay. Can I get a,
Does anyone want to
Yeah.
pull an item?
is there any members the commission that wish to pull an item for further discussion? If not, then we're gonna approve all consent items in one motion.
Fine.
Okay. Who would like to make a motion?
I move
that we
approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. There are no excluded calendar items, so we'll go to H, public participation on non-agenda.
Chairperson Kristen Kelly, we have a request to speak on F.3.
Okay. Okay, then bear with me.
Then we would have to pull that for
Yes.
discussion.
So I'm going to have to remake the motion with the exception of F3, correct? Then we have to redo it.
That would
Okay.
move into the
So,
excluded items.
Can we have another motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of F3? Because we're going to be talking about it, correct?
I move.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So now we can go on to, so we're just going to discuss the John Parsons. Is that what it is, right? Okay.
Yep.
So John Parsons Public Art Fund report and status of city council approved and funded projects. Jack.
We have an audience request to speak.
What's that?
An audience member has requested to
Okay.
speak.
Come on. Sorry, I thought it was online.
Gotcha.
So sorry. I should have known it was Joan.
Hi, Joan Irvine, District 1. Commissioners, appreciate the time, appreciate the work you're doing. What I wanted to do is, in the John Parsons Fund, there is, and I'm representing Keep the Esplanade Beautiful. So that there is $100,000 that has been allocated for more public art on the Esplanade. Nothing really has been done. About 2 years ago, I think it was, or a year ago, somebody came and presented something about an art project on there, but it was going to be dependent upon him getting a grant, which he didn't. But also the way it was done, it did not go through a process. My understanding is if you're going to be doing something, you need to go out for a bid, or get 3 bids. and then you get to choose from there. That did not happen. There was no, he was just here, everybody approved it, and then it didn't happen. So that I would like to make sure that that money is being used as, and I'll talk about this in another one, but with LA 28 coming, it would be great to be able to have some more public art on the Esplanade. Because as we know, the Esplanade is a place where a lot of people come, and a lot of people are going to be coming more. They're coming in for the, well, the World Cup, the Super Bowl, and then LA 28. So I'd like to know what, well, to ask, what do we need to do to have the Art Commission bring that up and start to work on it again so that we can, the city can put out an RFP and we can be moving forward with that, and hopefully it will be completed by the time of LA 28. So I know you can't answer me, but just, and also what happens if it's, you know, there's more money in the John Parsons fund, you know, if it's going to be more than $100,000, are you going to be able to allocate more funds to public art on the Esplanade? So that's my questions, and because I'd really like to get it going, because we actually put out back 10 years ago, I put out an idea for an art project on the Esplanade, and we didn't have any money to do it, and there wasn't a John Parsons fund at that point. And then when I found out last year or the year before that somebody was going to be presenting a project, I came in with at least a rendering, so you could see the concepts that we're looking at. And I've talked to staff people, and they go, "Oh, we have this idea, and we have this idea." And I said, "Yeah, that's what we were going to put. That's what we proposed 10 years ago." So I would just like to make sure that we're kept involved in this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go.
Anybody else?
Okay. So now do we have to make a motion again?
Did,
Right, that's
no,
right.
did anybody else want to speak to this?
I think I asked.
Okay,
Nobody? Okay.
no, that was done.
Yeah, no worry. Is there a motion? Can we make a motion?
Doesn't need a motion.
It doesn't need a motion? Needs to make, because.
Oh, because it was excluded,
Yeah.
it needs to receive and file. Thank you.
So can we make a motion? Somebody make a motion?
Make a motion.
Second?
Receive and file.
Somebody second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Now we can move on to H. Public participation on non-agenda items. This section is intended to provide members of the public with the opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes to address the commission. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once, and written requests, if any, will be considered first under this section.
We have several speakers.
Wonderful.
Good evening, I'm Rick McQuillan, and thank you for receiving my letter. I'm going to kind of recap that a little bit here. I'm Rick McQuillan from Manhattan Beach with an update on CRTesia and SouthBayStreets.com. This app is to serve local commerce. We want the community to get out and into our local businesses. But the app has a directory of locations, so I've had inquiries to add public art and historical sites to the app. So I took a few days to scope that out for this meeting. Can we present an art map in our app? And in general, it works. I emailed you this morning some screenshots from the beta site where I've started loading data. It's early and it's not pretty. We're getting the function right first, then we work on the beauty. But these two types of maps seem to fit well in the overall app since it's all about locations. It was all about business locations, and adding art and history locations could elevate the Redondo Beach experience for residents and visitors. And thanks, Christina, for sharing the link to the Philly Public Art site. I reviewed that and I pressed my brother to as well. He's an architect and he knows Philly art and architecture. And we think Philly's map is nice, and I bet we could do better. This is Philadelphia, what do they know? So for example, a visitor could view public art alone, but we could also interleave art with businesses and maybe provide a better experience. For example, if someone's exploring art it can't hurt if we can tell them there are ice cream, burritos, a gift shop, or a surf shop nearby, for example, and vice versa. If you visit a business, you can check for Redondo art nearby. But I'm getting too far ahead, so let's back up. At core, this project would have two parts. First, we collect and store the data, and then we present the data. I'm getting wonky, technical here. It would be good to start collecting the data now, anytime. We have some energy behind it. We've got lots of visitors coming in the next few years. I've started gathering a little of what's publicly available, and that's what I put in as sample data. Georgette has offered some of her personal information and pictures. We'd love to get that. And I think this would be a great project for Redondo Union High School students who want to help gathering, cleaning, loading, curating, and maintaining our public art data. So if we just collect and centralize our data, that's a valuable step. And as we do this, we can decide where to eventually store it and how to present it. So yes, we can create a nice, useful catalog of our public art for observation, tours, and events. And if we want to set our sites higher, I bet we can create a nice, useful app for residents and visitors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
And by the way, I've heard, both Gettys got singed, as you probably know, and they're looking for contingency plans. And the Galleria is above tsunami level, and it's easily accessible. So I'm just saying, think about that. Thank you.
Thank
It is good.
you.
Bob. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good
I'm
evening.
Jim Mueller from District 5. I'm an artist. I've written, produced, and acted in films and stage plays. These projects have required of me a sensitivity to both the dramatic and the visual arts. Since moving here in 2007, I've become acquainted with the vibrant arts community in Redondo Beach. There are many artists of all disciplines who live here and many who are interested in the civic arts. And these people who have come here today are examples. But since becoming acquainted with how the city government works, I do not find it difficult to understand why the city hired a consultant based in Hollywood to be paid $40,000 to choose public art for Redondo Beach. The city government is kind of hooked on consultants, spending over $10 million a year on them. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't question hiring consultants in highly technical and specialized subjects that I don't know anything about, but I feel qualified to question hiring a consultant for an area I do know about, and especially after seeing the presentation by their junior level personnel showing images of past projects would demonstrate a total absence of sensitivity to the ambiance and style of Redondo Beach. How does a person get to become an arts consultant in Los Angeles? Well, after the 2008 economic meltdown, invasion of CGI and AI, multiple writer strikes, and the pandemic, a lot of arts people have been jettisoned from secure jobs in the industry. You need to pay the rent, right? So they decided to hang out a shingle and become a consultant. Why would a city manager hire an arts consultant rather than rely on existing resources both in the city and community? Short answer, if the voters don't like the chosen art, the consultant gets the blame. I suggest to the city that the arts consultant be paid for time spent so far and discharged, then form a citizens task force similar to other task force citizens the city has formed of mostly volunteers to do the job of choosing and in some cases creating the art required for this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Joan Irvine, District 1, representing Keep the Esplanade Beautiful. One of the things that I want to talk about is like with LA 28 coming, we're all taking a look at, what can we be doing? Because we had to take, Redondo's not good at building out new things, especially in a short time frame. But we do have great public art. And I wanted to add to what, God, my mind just went blank, about the map. And I'm sorry, I just totally went blank on that. Because one of the things, we have great mosaics on the Esplanade, and not just the ones that Patty and Debbie did. There's some on the ground, and also there's a couple of houses from the 50s or 60s that have mosaic art. And I thought for anybody coming in, if we had some kind of app or something that, here's a tour of mosaic art. There are some pictures on the city site, but it just says, here's this art, here's where it is. It doesn't give any history. And I think it would be really nice if the city, I don't know how much it would cost and who would do it, but if they could do some type of app that, I know, maybe Rick's app, I remember your name, that, would do that, because then people could go, oh, we're gonna go see this art. And it's mosaic art, and their art is not just on the Esplanade, but it's also the stairs going up south, north of the pier, at the police department. So their mosaic art is all over the city, and you could almost do one of these things where maybe they click. If they've gone to see the art, they get to click it, and maybe the one who's seen the most, they get a Redondo T-shirt or something like that that would incentivize them. But I think we're going to have people who want to take a look at the art. And so there's things that we can be doing, and in the Esplanade, we're taking a look at what are the other things we can be doing to attract people. Are we going to be doing more First Saturday sweeps? Are we going to do educational tours about nature? What are the things that we can be doing that we can be adding to attract visitors to the Esplanade? Because if you take a look at what the Tourism Department Commission does, most of those pictures are of the Esplanade and the beach by the Esplanade. So we're, as just a nonprofit charity, all volunteer, small, we want to be contributing what we can. And we've also offered our chair of our marketing committee to the marketing of the LA 28 marketing committee. We've offered him to that committee, and because he's also doing some advertising, you're going to see some fun advertising coming out about keeping the Esplanade beautiful. So I just want to put that out, because we have existing art, people just have to find out about it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was our last written request to speak, and we have no e-comments.
No e-comments. Okay. So, no discussion for that. Okay, now we're going to go to I, correct? Yes. Items continued from previous agendas. Okay. So, should we go on to J2, right? So, update on Artesia Public Art Project by Public Art Consultant Labasse Projects.
We don't have a representative here tonight.
Okay, no.
Just a quick, brief update from me.
Okay.
We spoke at a teleconference recently, and they have begun the process of outreach. They've obtained names from the council district members for districts 3, 4, and 5 of citizens to consult with. They have all of your contact information. We'll be reaching out to each of you as well for your opinions and points of view. They have also begun setting up appointments with NRBBA, and they're looking at other business stakeholders as well. So we are in that process now, and they have begun their assay of existing public art, so to create a list of all the existing collection that exists in the Artesia corridor. Okay. So that is where we're at now, and when we next communicate, I will report back, or if there's something more significant, they will.
We can have a little discussion, can't we, about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me have a quick, yeah.
Yeah, I have like a question. So like, do we have any like concrete evidence of that? Like, do they have any, or are they going to be passing that along to us? You said that they'd be in touch with us soon of like that information that they're collecting, and that they have. Do we have
They've
any?
not given us any deliverables yet. They have given us a fairly comprehensive timeline of when they expect to deliver each of these items with dates, and they have also given us a link to their online internal scheduling system, so that if it moves and there's changes and variations, we'll have real-time notification of that. Okay. So we should know exactly when they, or very approximately when they intend to deliver these things.
Somebody else? Questions, do I put it out to public or no? Yeah. And is there any public comment? Did anybody want to? Yes.
I think it's interesting that the consultant, even though there's an agenda item tonight for that project, the consultant is not here. And of course, it's a long trip from Hollywood on the freeway, and maybe they don't like to pay the freeway tolls going back and forth, spending a little time in Redondo Beach. I think it speaks to their sensitivity to our community that they're not here and that they have kind of a vague timeline of things that they're going to do. They've been on the job now for how many months? 2 months, maybe?
Just a little under.
And this is the result that we have so far. I suggest you pay them off now, get rid of them, and go to the community of artists, and I'm sure you'll have a committee doing something really quick. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to say too, I'm not really prepared for this, but one thing I remember from their presentation on slide 5 was a big portrait of Nipsey Hussle that was on the side of a smoke shop. And we should probably make sure when we're coordinating with them that they realize that, smoke shops are kind of on their way out. Nipsey Hussle famously got shot at the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson about 5 years ago. And so I hope that La Basse is aligned with the idea that that's not the direction that we're trying to move in on Artesia Boulevard. We want it to be a family-friendly place, I would say, or at least a place where people want to go and have a good time. So I just want to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else?
Well,
Yeah, come.
Well, good evening, everybody. I am Kath Anderson. I am the owner and CEO of Vifa Gallery Visual Experience Fine Art. And even though we are located in Torrance, Redondo Beach has always been very close to our home, and two of my sons that work in the gallery do live in Redondo Beach. So this is all part of this bigger community of the South Bay where we're trying to have an impact and just create a much more cultural and artistic conversation among the community locally and then as it expands. So I just wanted to let you know we came here this evening because we haven't had an opportunity yet to meet with you before the council, to let you know that we are here, want to get to know all of you further and be able to have some type of relationship to be able to assist. And if consulting is on the menu for your art projects, we're here to help. So I don't know if you get a chance to afterwards to say hello and get to know you a little bit better, but that's why we're here, and we continue. Hopefully we'll be able to show up at the commission meetings. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all there, right? No online or?
No
okay,
online.
Perfect. Okay, now we receive and file, right? Don't we have to receive and file?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I make a motion to receive and file. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to receive and file.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we're going to be going to, we're going to go to K1 and then we'll go to K. Discussion regarding recommending to City Council that some unallocated funds from JPPAF be allocated to commissioning a permanent LGBTQIA+ sculpture and recommending some unspent funds currently allocated to a mural at the Transit Center be reallocated to the Lillian Fall Park, a virtual art map, and/or a community center. Jack.
Yeah, these are the items that you requested be put on the agenda at the last meeting so that you could discuss them.
Okay. So maybe we should go right to
Sure.
left again? Is that okay?
Yeah, I wasn't here unfortunately, during the last meeting, so I'm just going to offer my comments on the three of them. I have absolutely no problems with allocating funds to the LGBTQ art project, even though I think it would have been my preference that it would be funded directly by the city from its own budget.
Before we do this, can you let the commissioners know what the funds are maybe before we even, discuss that? Because maybe that will help.
It was in your report.
I know, but do you have it so we can?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just because that might help get a better understanding of what's there and what we can utilize. Do you know what I mean? So.
Put it this side. There it is.
Oh, it's
Okay,
online.
currently, before this meeting, there was about $74,000, $272 remaining unallocated in the fund. But that did not include the recently approved utility boxes. And we expect that those will cost another $12,500. So that would take about 12,000 or so off of that. So you're down to about 62. However, we are determining that the Skate Waves project came in under budget, which will put another 18,000 back into the art fund. We'll get the exact number after the final bills are tallied, but you should have about 80,000 unencumbered at this time.
Yep. Okay. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut, but I think that helps out a lot for you because I thought maybe that might add to something.
Sure.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my comment was actually more on the principle rather than the numbers. I don't have any objections to allocating funds for the LGBTQI. It says sculpture here. Has it been sculpture has been chosen?
We all approved for the location which is the North Branch Library, and for it to be a sculpture.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. But my only comment would be, I wish that it actually came directly from the city's own budget, because it would have shown a deeper commitment to erect this sculpture for this purpose.
Can you, it comes from, it's still coming from our.
Basically, the difference is ours is an art fund for public art, but erecting a LGBTQ sculpture is, I think, beyond that. For the city to basically recognize a community living in Redondo Beach, to honor them. So instead of taking funds out of the art fund, it could have been, I think, more meaningful if it came from the general budget of the city of Redondo Beach.
Okay, gotcha.
That's my point.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So the allocation of the additional funds, do we have a price already for that one? Or are we like short on some cash? Or
there has never been an allocation, so.
So we decided on what we wanted, and then we haven't.
Yeah, but there needs to be an allocation of funds there. So that's what I think this discussion is to finally establish an allocation of funds.
So we're just deciding whether or not we agree that there's an allocation of funds. We're not going to pick how much. We're just going to say that we agree to allocate.
Yeah, it would be nice to have, to say how much, a sculpture can go from $10,000 to $20,000. So in that place, it's not going to be, monumentally huge. But I think an allocation that's going to finally have this come to fruition would help, then us take it and then have a letter of recommendation to the city.
So procedurally, we're going to go talking about these other ideas too. Is it possible that we listen to that stuff first and then figure out?
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Do you want to go through each of these, or do you want to go through the
come
whole
up with
thing?
we'll come up with a price, right? Like, let's say we have 3 ideas we want to nail, right? And we already figured out how much we are. We're at $80K, right? And there's just like a couple other things on the agenda. Am I correct?
Well, there's that.
Right. So we kind of got to take into account all the other items to try to figure out how much we want to allocate for this.
Well, of course.
Okay. So I guess how much? We just start throwing out prices. Like I say, 11,000.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? That's what we're doing, right?
Well, we're.
So I say 11,000. I put forward, let's put 11,000 on sculpture.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I have some things to maybe say to like clear
Yeah, so
up
I think
some
that
stuff.
each person should put their insight on this, right? So we have the sculpture, we have the allocated funds for the Lilienthal, we have the idea of the virtual map and the community arts center. So there's 4 things here,
Okay.
5 things here. So if everybody can maybe do a little bit of their insight, money's included, that might be a little bit easier to get an understanding, and then maybe we can move forward with some of these things.
okay, then as far as the virtual art thing, is that having to do with this gentleman's presentation?
No,
Okay.
we talked about that.
I missed one
Yeah,
too,
we
so
talked-
I'm
we-
just
we
trying to
already-
catch
We
up.
already talked about that.
Okay.
For each city, Laguna Beach has one, Long Beach has one. It's something that we are long overdue with to have. This is just wonderful because we have somebody that's bringing on their insight as well. But we've discussed this before where I even brought maps for, and this is from past meetings, each district member, that's when I give everybody a map to do some homework and designate
Yeah, okay.
maybe where it's at.
I get
So-
that.
So
But do you have a price on that? Did you, I mean, with knowing that these
that
other
will
cities?
be something that that we'll have to probably work with the city to figure out what the price point
Okay, so
will
we
be.
can't allocate, we don't have an idea to allocate
Yes,
anything
and
to
also
that.
the allocation of the funds are for the sculpture and also for the Lilienthal Park for taking the money from the transit center and for that. These are just additional items that went into K1, but from our last meeting, it was about allocating funds for the remainder for the permanent sculpture there and for taking some of the funds then from the mural at the transit center, because there's been so much trouble going on with that and getting anything to come to fruition there, taking that money and putting it towards Lilienthal Park. And so the virtual art map and the community center is like an extra also, but when it comes to the funding, it's those 2 specifically that we're discussing as far as the funds go. Does that make sense?
Say the 2 again?
It's going to be the sculpture for the LGBTQIA sculpture, and then Lilienthal Park to have possibility of art that has money reallocated from the transit center.
The money from the transit center is a go. We have that?
Well, there's money in it, so what we wanted to do is take that money that was allocated there and transfer it over to Lilienthal Park, because it's been stagnant there because of all the issues they've had.
So whittling everything down, the idea is to take the money that's allocated for which isn't a go, we don't know yet, right? That
Yeah,
we would allocate the 100,000 or whatever the price is at the transit center, right? That we're going to ask to have move that for the Lilienthal thing, right? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's its own separate thing. We're done with that. The app, we don't have anything to do with that, right? Yet. We're just going to agree
No, we
that.
just want to create it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's all that's left is to figure out how much we want to allocate for this LGBTQ sculpture.
Which is what the funds that Jack had let us know about.
Correct. So at that point right now, we pick a price, right, that we want to allocate for that sculpture out of the 80K we have. So how do we want to do that? Do we want to just come up with a price?
Well, I think that's what we're asking is for each commissioner's input on it. Like, depending on a sculpture, if it's going to be something that's aluminum with ceramic, mosaic tile, sculptures can go from 5,000 up to 35,000.
I know,
depending on height and all that
I'm not
kind of stuff.
arguing that
No, I know you're not.
I'm
trying
just
to get
saying
them-
to get moving,
Yeah.
we want to allocate
But I'm also trying to give you insight of it. So if you're questioning about, allocating, then also it's just I've done a little bit of research about how local South Bay sculptors what they charge for.
So how much would you recommend we?
So I'm thinking that because it's a starting point at the Artesia corridor, I think it's the size wouldn't be too bad to have between 4 by 8, and it could be like around $20,000. It depends on the materials. It depends on if the aluminum is going to be less expensive than steel. You're going to be working with either glass or you're going to be working with ceramics, some mosaics. So it depends on all that. If we can just, everybody maybe do, put their allocated what they feel, and then maybe come together as the commission and do a joint, agreement upon a certain price, and then maybe we leave something for something else. This is to just finally get this jump started, because this has been going on for 2 years now. And so just to kind of make this finally come to fruition with that. And then, as we all know, the transit center, we couldn't do, sculpture there. We couldn't do, there were so many things going wrong. So until we can figure that out, instead of sitting on that money, that's why we had made a recommendation to possibly take those funds and allocate them to Lilienthal Park, which is on 190th, which is a really great little mini, park that has two ways that the public could enjoy, and has expressed a very much of an interest having artwork at that park. So that was
procedurally. Do we all agree we should allocate some cash?
Can I talk now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure.
Okay, so I just wanted to break down this because I feel like we put a lot into this one section, and really you're concentrating on one piece of that puzzle, which I'm totally on board with doing. But first of all, the transit center, we're all on board with that's out because of the issues. It says city engineers are not supporting the installation of the mural on the walls selected by the Public Arts Commission due to the problems within the construction of the walls, which they believe will ultimately result in water damage to the artwork. Funding of the amount of $75,000 remains appropriated for this project in the FY25 budget. So $75,000 are suddenly kind of available to move because that project is not working. So that's how we get the first $75,000, right? Now, just question for clarification. We have an additional then $5,000 to make it $80,000. Is that true? Because you said we have $80,000.
No, there's 80,000 unallocated entirely.
Okay, that's
the 75,000 is allocated.
Okay.
In either case, you're going to need to basically make a request to the council, show a letter of support for doing these things. It's their choice how to spend the money. So you need to give your advice, your support for a plan, and that would get transmitted to the council for action.
Okay, so I feel like the first step would be to agendize to reallocate or open up the $75,000, remove that from the transit center, right? Or are we thinking that that's staying and we're changing that idea? And then separately, I almost want to stop that conversation because we have $80,000 and it looks like we could start allocating some of those to some other project ideas that we have, and that would be probably more productive with our time.
Okay, so we already we already had mentioned about allocating that from the transit center for Lilienthal. That's why they put it in this agenda. So that's a given. So of what we were hoping for to maybe possibly happen, right? But for the sculpture for the LGBTQI plus is funds that we don't have to use all of that. We could use a partial and then have it, that's what I was saying, is be for other things as well. I agree, there can be other little projects that we can do with it, but they're too separate. Again, it even, right here, allocated money from the mural from the transit center, the funds can be allocated, then that 75 can go to Lilienthal. The extra money that Jack was talking about, that can be then allocated to whatever funds we all make a decision of some of it could go towards the sculpture, and then whatever else, we come up with that we recommend having.
So, I guess like what I would like to do is like definitely try to come, how I see just whatever this conversation going is trying to come up with a number of what you need for outside of the library, one. And then I think we need to agendize talking about the transit center and make sure that we are either doing something with that money or we have to make a decision, I think, on what's happening at the transit center. If that wall is not possible, then we need to switch it over, then we need to move that money somewhere else. So I think that has to be talked about. And then I think how far along is the Lilienthal Park project? Could we talk about also giving that a number as well?
Can we ask Jack so he can refresh you guys about what's going on at the transit center?
At the transit center right now, it's on hold. There was an intention, once we moved the Gateway sculpture to Gateway Parkette, it was decided, the decision was changed to making a mural on the wall along the front to back of the busways. That's the wall that was determined by Public Works as to be unsuitable for a mural, and that's where it stands. Mm-hmm. No one has made a recommendation or a suggestion as to what to do next. So right now the money is just sitting there, assigned to a mural. That doesn't mean that they couldn't find another way to do a mural, whether on the building or on an adjacent, something else. None of that has been talked about at this time.
Okay, I just wanted you to hear that.
So I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
So don't we first have to ask the council if we can reallocate this money?
You have to ask council if you want to do anything with the money.
So to me, that's step number one.
Yeah.
Then step number two is we have no artists, we have no idea of what we really want the sculpture to be. I mean, we have ideas, so I don't even know how we could put a price tag on it.
So I wanted as, with our LGBTQIA plus our group, I wanted to draw out a letter that would hopefully then we could present to council with that. So that's part of it too, so.
But if they're willing to reallocate the money, then that just buys us some time to come up with ideas or narrow down ideas as to what we want. And then if they say nay, then it's a moot point. And if they say yay, then great, then we can be like, well, here's an artist and it's $15,000.
But we're still gonna have to present a letter to them regarding the money. I mean, that's what.
Right, but my concern is that if you put a price tag on it and they say okay, and then we get an artist and maybe they charge more or maybe they charge less, then what?
Can I answer your question?
Please.
I don't think we are trying to put a price tag on the project. I think what we are trying to do is how much of the John Parsons Public Art Fund that we would recommend to the City Council to use for that project. So this is basically, it could be a $250,000 project if the City Council wants to do it. But we have $75,000, right, extra. So how much of that are we willing to recommend to the council they can use out of that thing? So what I would love to do is by the way, this project has been going on for years, yes, as some people know here. And I think if we basically don't make a recommendation as soon as practically possible, it will continue. Mm-hmm. So the motion that I like to make is, something similar to the commission recommends to the City Council to use up to $40,000 from the John Parsons Project Fund for the erection of a sculpture to honor the LGBTQ community in Redondo Beach. And then they can, if they want to add funds to it, they can add it. If they don't want to add it, they leave it at $40,000, and that becomes the budget given to the staff, right? And then the staff goes out and finds the artist, or basically goes through the list of artists which are on file already, and basically does what do you call them?
A call for artists.
It would be a call for artists,
Call for art. Mm-hmm. And then we have a budget of either $40,000 or $200,000. So that would be the motion I think we can make today. It will speed things up. With the additional thing, if the commission basically feels the same way that I am feeling, is with a recommendation that the money that we are allocating from the John Parsons Fund is just a contribution or as, start of the thing. And we also believe that the city council should also allocate additional funds from the general budget. I think that would be a very symbolic gesture by the city to commit funds outside of the public art fund to a project like that. And finally, let me also say, I mean, we heard a lot of things, but given today's art market, a project of this caliber should not be like a $10,000, $20,000 project. I mean, in my humble opinion, it should be like anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000, if not more. Because as somebody also mentioned, it will be on the Artesia, it will be part of the Artesia project and things like that. Let's not talk small. Let's not think small here. Let's think a little bit big. Thank you.
Did you want to
I
say something?
still have things to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I feel like, pause on that whole thing, if you don't mind, and let me just skip over to the other things that are written into here, which is the Lilienthal project, the virtual map, and the Community Arts Center. Okay, so these are other projects that we are thinking about, right? And so currently we have $80,000 free to allocate. And then if we wanted to start allocating funds in that sort of way, I feel like we have to break down each of these projects into one separate agendized item and approach them separately. And so because I have opinions on the virtual art map and on the community art center, and one of the things that has come up recently is that the public library in Veterans Park is open, and they're looking for people to fill that space. And I thought that's literally the perfect spot for something like an art hub. And why not, if that's a public library, I'd like to discuss kind of what that space is, and if we could maybe have some sort of control over that space and open that up to our community as maybe a spot where we could do they were talking any sort of music in the park, and the chalk things could happen all along Veterans Park, and having a amphitheater and poetry in the park and summer programs could all be out of there. Any equipment that needs to be held that the city might because now we have cultural arts, right? So if we need equipment and all those sorts of things over time, it could all be held in that space and could be taken care of in that space, right? So as far as a community arts center, I think that that's important too. And then if that space is open right now and they're looking for something to be in there, that aligns with some of what we've been talking about.
Can we get maybe a little bit of input from Jack, because he might know a little bit? Do you know a little bit about do you want to fill in about the library? Do you know anything about the library?
What about the library? What's the question?
In Veterans Park, just as far as the lease, do you know?
The historic library, what's the situation is the question.
Are you talking about the Veterans Park Library?
Yeah, the Veterans.
That contract is still in negotiation. That is not concluded yet. They tell me that they're getting closer to a final contract, but that's still in closed session, still being negotiated.
With who?
They have something by Meg. There's a caterer that would take it over on a lease, and that would also probably end up leaving a certain amount of time available for use for the city, as opposed to the last time we did this. It was exclusively in the hands of the caterer, and their job was just to make money on renting it. This would be sort of a mixed use.
Yeah,
but I don't have any details on it, because it is, again, they're still negotiating.
So maybe we
Go ahead.
Like I was saying before, there's 2 items on here we're not working with tonight. So the only thing we got to decide from what we all figured out is how much of a price tag we want to allocate towards this sculpture. Now, to what was also said about putting a price tag on something and it being a moot point as far as whatever happens in the future, we're here now. It doesn't matter what happens outside of tonight. The thing that's on the agenda that we have to decide is how much we want to allocate towards the LGBTQ thing. Everything after that,
And the Lowenthal.
how do we don't
There's
you've
funds
come up,
already that are in the transit center.
but you understand we're not deciding that's another item that has to happen that we've got to ask
Can't
for.
we make a recommendation to the council for that?
You can make a recommendation.
that's
You
a
can give a
set- but
plan that includes all of these, or just parts of these as you see fit.
Right.
And it'll be up to them to act on it or not act on it.
So that's what I'm
right,
saying. What we have in front of us right now
Right.
is 80K, and whether or not we want to allocate 50 to 80K towards that. That other thing is something else. That's $75,000 that we may or may not get for the Lilithal Park. But if we pick 50 here, then we still have 30 to deal with that. So that's what we're dealing with is 80K, how much we want to allocate to the LGBTQ thing, and playing it safe and having 30 left over for whatever we can do with the Lilienthal thing.
Commissioners, I just wanted to correct myself on one little thing on that 80,000. As I forgot for a moment that we're required by the public art ordinance to retain 5% for future maintenance on any project.
Okay.
So really, it'd be about 76,000 would leave the appropriate 4,000 remaining.
So you just want to leave the money, is that what you're saying, in the transit center for right now?
No,
And take,
no, no.
is that
No,
what
no,
you're
no.
saying? Okay.
We're still going to have 26,000, whatever price tag we put on the LGBTQ to, have whatever left over for.
Okay, I'm just
That's
trying
like
to
the
get
smart move is
I'm just
what.
trying to get clarification, that's all.
Yeah, no.
What you're trying to say.
I have one practical kind of question about it, so Commissioner Tanner, you're saying that we should probably put more money into this, but you had said that you think that the sculpture is going to be fairly small.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a very large sculpture, right? So does that change? And there's time and energy and everything put into it, but I'm saying, is this, if we're going to start discussing the number, and I think you still have to say your opinion as well, but I think if we're going to start discussing a number, I think we need to just really talk about the size, materials, or, and how much, and then see also maybe is that number flexible? If let's just say now we say 50,000 and then we start getting, or is it just that the number will change because the artist will come with a different idea, and if that idea is just under budget, then it's under budget. Is that how that works? Or
Do you have a question too?
Well, my thought is that if you say that here's our budget, an artist would be like, okay, well, I'm gonna aim high. If your budget's 80,000, then I'm gonna come in with a piece and say it's 80,000. That's just my thought.
I would also argue when you go shopping or when you buy a car, you have a budget and that's what you get. So that's kind of what we're doing. They did with the Artesia Boulevard. They did that. We allocated all the funds for all that stuff, and we go out and we shop for what it is we're looking for. To Orban's point too, the council's gonna decide on all this. I keep repeating this here. Our job is to look at stuff and decide whether we want to spend money. There's no part of us right now that are going to get to say yes or no, and then artwork's just going to start getting broke around. Everything we do here goes up to the council.
Of course.
So what I'm saying is right in front of us tonight, we have the opportunity to figure out how much money we want to throw at something. I, myself, since I've gotten here, I'm here to spend money. That's what my dream is we got 80K, we had something we came up with, an LGBTQ statue. Let's just figure out how much money we want to throw at it. And then with these other items, we got 75 possible. We've got to ask for that. But we have an opportunity to do something is my vote. Is
What would you do?
I would throw it all at this thing. I would take $74,000 and throw it all for LGBTQ statue.
But then there's another commissioner that wants to do some more things.
Then that's what I'm saying. We get to,
I want to disagree with you, and I just want to throw out the idea that, being an artist as a career is a difficult way, right? And if we throw everything at one artist, suddenly that one artist is the only one getting the benefit, or like, a small group of artists, they're the only ones getting the benefit that we can provide, right? So if we have other ideas that we want to divide into, like, if we want to have other ideas and we throw all of our money in one pocket, well, I mean, one, it's kind of like there's two sides to this coin. One is maybe you're saying throw it all in because then you're going to get one great piece of artwork, right? Instead of like a bunch of little junky pieces of artwork. And I'm on board with that. But what I'm not on board with is like just throwing out other ideas because, like $80,000 split between, like if you have two artists for $80,000, like that's one project for their whole year, and that's like their living expenses for that entire year, and that's splitting $80,000 into two projects.
Hands down.
Excuse me,
That's why I
folks,
said that.
may I just insert one really small practicality on this? The space that you're targeting for doing this in front of the library is not that big. I'm not sure you have room for an $80,000 project. You should consider the space or maybe rewalk it before you come to a decision, if that's the case. But it's
thrown out a couple prices
large
here.
Space.
I said 11, we got 50. I'm not, it's not the thing, I'm not saying.
I'm not
but
trying
it's
to
like,
direct that at all, I'm just
no.
pointing it out.
Yeah, like
That's a great idea to keep it.
Again, we are not setting the budget for the project.
No.
Correct.
We are just allocating the
Right.
money or suggesting to the council to allocate the money from the Public Art Trust to cover a portion of the art project to be done there. That's up to the council to set a budget. If they want to add more, they can add more. If they want to get a sponsor, they can get a sponsor.
There we go.
And I suggest that we recommend, the motion is, we recommend to the city council to allocate $25,000 of the John Parsons Fund to be used for the LGBTQ sculpture in front of the library. And we also recommend to them to increase the budget if they fit to do so, something like that.
Okay.
So,
And
fair middle ground.
And that's one motion. And the other motion is, there are 4 items here, right? That we wanted to discuss. The second one, I'm totally okay with switching the funds from one project to the other one. That's no problem.
Good.
And I think the 2 other ones are not actually pure items related to the how to use funds in the John Parsons project, but it's more of a general discussion. I'm all for doing the virtual art map, and we can make a motion to recommend to the council again that we want to do this, and $10,000, does that fit? You want to spend $10,000 from the thing for the virtual art fair? This is, again, just setting a budget. We are not selecting vendors, we are not doing it, but, things like that. And fourthly, the Community Art Center, as you know, I'm a big supporter of, is actually become a little bit interesting with the discussion about the historic library. The historic library, allow me to explain it for 2 minutes. When the previous vendor left, the city had an extensive search project, and I actually wasn't working for as a commissioner of the city at that point, so I acted as a consultant to a bidder who basically wanted to turn it into an art museum, as well as open it for catering things. It wasn't really that well received, but we are talking about 4 or 5 years ago. I think it would be a fantastic place, obviously, to be used to display art, and also to fund the thing, also used for catering events. There can be a mixture about that. But as somebody suggested earlier, the beauty about that thing is actually the park that it sits on. It's a fantastic venue to organize outdoor concerts, including the Fig Tree, which is 300 some years old. So what I would therefore suggest is to make a, again, suggestion to the city council, pass a motion today saying that we want to be somehow involved in the process of allocating the purposing of the historic library. And then it's basically up to them about how they want to have us involved in, rather than giving it to, you know, a specific not-for-profit agency or something like that. I think we always talked about it, you know, we can definitely help the city with coming up with the programming, or at least coming up with the strategy about how to use that venue and the adjacent park to promote cultural and artistic activities in the city of Redondo Beach.
Pardon me, Mr. Danner, we're quite far afield from the subject of the discussion item.
But you are not finished
we
yet.
haven't, if you wanted to
But
put
you are
something,
not done
we
yet,
could
right?
agendize that.
Huh?
We could agendize a discussion
That's
of
what
that.
I don't want to agendize it. I want to pass a motion saying that we write a letter, because this is already agendized.
To
It's on
get
the agenda.
back, to get back.
Not the Veterans Park Museum.
It's,
Or
well,
the Veterans Park Library.
It says virtual art map and or community arts center. So the community
Oh,
arts
so you're
center.
seeing that as the community arts center.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, understood.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Sorry,
That's
my,
okay.
my mistake.
No.
That was his.
My mistake too. Wasn't clear. So to see, you know, how the city council feels. I mean, they may say, as our staff indicated, you know, too late, or they may say that's a good idea.
Okay.
I agree with them. I mean, we talked, that came up too, about it being like an art hub. We definitely need to take use of that. That's been kicked around for a little while here, so.
So agreed to the 25, the 10 for the map, and then that. How about you, Commissioner?
25? I don't know if we picked the
Well,
price. yet.
yeah, are we picking prices now? Because, yeah,
I think we should start kind of reeling this in.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Okay,
So I say we make a motion. We're going to make a motion if we're all in agreement with moving forward with this, to make a motion to use the unallocated funds, 25,000 of the unallocated funds from the JPPAF to be allocated to commissioning a permanent LGBTQIA plus sculpture, and also transfer the money that was for the transit center.
Wait, can we do those as two separate things?
Oh, yeah.
So like first
Yeah,
just.
yeah.
Let's make 4 different motions.
Yeah, we're going to make 4 different motions.
Okay, the first one is,
So you want me to do each, okay, so can we all have, well, I'll start with the sculpture. Is there a motion?
yes,
Yeah, who,
I move that
To-
the commission recommends to the city council to use up to $25,000 of unused funds in the John Parsons Fund towards a budget for the LGBTQI sculpture in front of the North Library.
is there a second?
I second this.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, is there a,
You would want probably a corollary with that, because you're going to want to write a letter
yeah,
to get this to the council. You basically write, the way you get it to the council is
Yes.
to
Yes.
write a letter of support, sign it, the commission recommends this, and then I get it to them. And then they decide if they want to agendize it or not.
okay.
The alternative is that I can just simply transmit the information myself.
Okay.
How would you prefer?
We'll write the
I would
letter.
like to,
We'll
yeah,
write the letter.
I'll take care, that's fine.
okay. Well,
just told
should we
that
make a
letter is the
motion then
common way.
to pick somebody to write a letter for that one? Because I will volunteer. if
However
need be.
you wish it handled.
Yeah, how would you
Why
all,
don't we wait until the 4 motions, and then maybe we put them in one letter?
in one letter, that makes it.
Sent by the
Thank
chairperson,
goodness.
if that's okay with you guys.
Yes, if it's okay with everybody. Does everybody agree? Okay, so
Keep it
let's
moving.
move on to the unspent funds currently at the transit center. Make a motion to allocate those over to Lilienthal Park.
Oh, I thought that we were going to take that and we were going to like liquidate it or something into our, like our big bank that then we would reallocate into.
That was for going to Lilienthal Park. There's still additional money. We only did 25 for the LGBTQIA plus with the other funds that Jack had mentioned about. So those are two different, you guys are, they're two different.
I just didn't, this is just, I didn't.
No, yeah.
I just didn't understand that you wanted to go from one to the other,
Yeah, that's a
right?
straightforward. That's taking the money that was allocated for the transit center and directly putting it to the Lilienthal.
Right?
Yeah, I'm asking,
Doesn't it make more sense?
instead of just making the motion, should we be just transferring it 75, like the direct 75? I'm just asking.
Well,
like
it would make
everybody.
sense because it's a park. It's going to be even more additional. There's more space around in that. In my opinion, it's whatever we all agree upon. And don't forget, there's extra still funds for the map and whatever else extra coming out from the JPPAF as well, because we only directed 25 like Tanner had suggested, and then you all agreed upon. So that's what I had assumed, but I'm sorry if I
just didn't know.
No, absolutely. I want to make sure that we all are on the same path. So absolutely. So does that make sense now? Or are you in agreement or disagreement or?
No, I think
so. Should we can we make a motion for that? And then we can get onto the map and the center too. Can we, because there's going to be, there's four
I
different
make a
ones.
motion
Yeah.
to allocate the money from the mural,
Transit center.
right, but we don't even, I make a motion to allocate whatever money we get back from the mural at the transit center, that it be reallocated to Lilienthal Park.
Okay.
Well, that's it. You make a motion to recommend to the council to do so, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Is there, so.
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Boom, we did work.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now, Commissioner Lawrence, did you want to, any extra funding that was from, because we only directed so much from the JPPF as far as the virtual map, and fellow commissioners, the 10,000 like you had suggested?
The only thing is I don't have the bylaws in front of me. Would that be okay to allocate money from the John Parsons Fund to a virtual art project?
I don't know.
It's in
I
our
don't know if
new.
that, from what they're talking about, it doesn't describe that way in the public art ordinance. I'm not sure that could be
Yeah,
done.
I don't have the bylaws, so I don't want to make a motion.
It's very
here to-
specifically works of public art.
Yeah.
And it's very specific to that.
Yes.
Okay. I was going to think it might, so
Could
maybe we
simply
should wait
recommend
for
that
that?
they do this.
And we can, because don't forget in E, we have including but not limited to, but I don't know, again, I'm with you, so why don't we hold off and continue this with making a motion to ask staff about as far as what that goes, as far as monies go into that. Do you know what
I'm pretty sure, but I will get absolute commitment on that, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
in the
can-
spirit of discussion, just
Yeah.
this virtual art map is similar to what the gentleman was talking about before, right?
Mhm.
In the interest of the city, like making money or making, getting eyeballs and views. And I'm just asking questions like, this is going to be an app on a phone. I mean, I got hundreds of apps on my phone. So how does
You're already
Redondo
answering
Beach?
I feel like we're already answering the question. I think we need to get some more intel about this before if it's your, if
Like,
you.
is this worth doing? Like,
Yeah,
I
is
got
this going to
20.
be from the city basically instead of taking funds
Correct.
from our,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I agree with that. So I don't think that funding should be taken out when it could be something that the city can be doing, and then we can save that money, that 10,000 that Tanner graciously was going to also recommend to that. We could be using that for other, public art.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Does everybody agree?
Can I
If you
just
want to
throw
make
out
a
like
recommendation
next
to the
level
city,
of that?
do it anyway with the dollar figure to recommend, just not from the John Parsons
Yeah,
Art
not
Funds.
just not.
We could
'cause
say that too,
save
right?
that-
Yes.
Yes.
The mayor was asking for ideas.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
yeah, because I was just thinking, isn't that a larger idea than just the public arts? Like, if someone's going to come to Redondo, they would download the Redondo Beach app, and then in the Redondo Beach app, there might be like, oh, here's a walking path through all the public arts, and and this is kind of the ideas that have been
Parks.
coming our way from everybody out here.
Right.
And it's larger than just like, you wouldn't just download the app only for the public art. You would download it for that and what restaurant recommendations and
Right.
what's at the pier, and like, so that's way larger than just us. So it would be like our responsibility, and that would be identifying all of the public
And
art.
we're also having a community outreach that has experience, so maybe this is something where we can get a little bit more information, not only from the outreach of community with interest with it, but also work with the city.
So then could I make a motion to go to council with the idea that a Redondo Beach app is created?
Art map.
Art map.
Redondo Beach art map, yes.
A Redondo Beach
A
city
virtual art map.
app would be created, and within that app would be a public art map.
I think it should be a virtual, a Redondo Beach virtual public art map, because that's what we had.
But what I'm saying is that maybe that this isn't something that's allocated from our funds. Maybe this is a larger Redondo Beach thing, that they should have an app for Redondo Beach. So that way when you get here, you know what to do and where to go. And you have some activities that you could go do. And one of the activities of the many activities offered in the app would be seeing public art. So it would be bigger than our budget. It would be their budget, and we would just be supportive of that.
The idea of a virtual,
A virtual art
and
map for the whole city as well as with
This is like
public
a
arts.
component in
Yeah,
something
a
bigger.
component
that
in
she's
something
saying.
bigger. Yeah.
This thing, the idea of an art map, she's saying it fits within something bigger for the city.
That's what I was thinking.
I think that what the whole purpose
we
was
shouldn't
for
pay for it
the map, not that I love that, but was for finally when you go into the cities, when you go into the system and it goes into public art commission, you can be directed into the arts in itself for the cultural art. So I get it, but I think that there needs to be a little bit more designated specification for us as art commissioners and as what we're representing, because we're,
I think we all agree.
So then are we also representing a cultural arts app instead, where it would also offer
music, all of that.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like, you could just download the app and then you would know that
that's in our-
Everything in Redondo.
that's
That's
in-
yeah, like
a
all the
bigger
fun
thing.
things
That's
to do
what-
in Redondo.
That's in the new part E about what film, all of that. So that would
Right.
be an
We might
addition.
also want to talk to the Public Amenities Commission about that, because
About that.
they're bringing history to Redondo,
Right.
has discussed a variety of different walking tours of historical elements. And this, the app that Rick was showing earlier had elements of that.
Yeah, that's bigger
Perhaps,
than the
as you
art.
said, a greater cultural arts app could include all
Yeah.
of these things.
Yeah.
It's bigger than, that's a
So
bigger, yeah.
then the motion is to create a cultural arts app
Yeah.
to include activities and public art that happen around Redondo Beach
Okay.
I
to be
second
presented to
that.
council.
Okay.
I
All in
second that.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. The last is the discussion about the possibility of future, hopefully, for community art center. And so, would you like to?
The motion would be something like this. The Cultural Art Commission recommends to the City Council that the commission will be involved in coming up with the strategy and you know, the use of the historic library when it comes to arts and culture events, something like that. I don't know. You can come up with better words, but.
No, I think, Tanner,
That's,
So,
yeah,
I mean,
programming.
I think we want to give them the message that we want to get involved.
yes.
That's it.
So what's your motion?
Well, I just said it, but you know, you guys can probably come up with a better way of saying it. It should be included in your letter as the last paragraph. I think the motion is the Cultural Arts Commission moves that it would like to get involved in the strategy and decisions as to use of the historic library for the purposes of arts and culture events.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Wonderful. Okay, now
I'm sorry, who was the second on that one?
Me.
Thank you.
Oh, I just said aye.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, now we're to L.
No.
Oh, so sorry. Public comment, sorry. I'm tired tonight. Sorry, I apologize. I
I'm sorry,
truly,
before we hear the comments, do we discuss the future agenda suggestions now or after we hear the comments? Because that's the time that we add new agenda items, right?
so,
Okay.
Within K,
no,
you would do
we're gonna
that.
go after, we're gonna go to that, we're gonna go to K after the
You're in
public.
K. You're in K. As soon as
But
you're
he's
done
right.
with this element, you can just go right into it.
No, but also,
K1 is just a subset of K.
but also there's a public discussion after this.
After K, but he's saying he wants to talk about future agenda items.
I also want
before
to
we
talk
take
about
public-
commission member items.
Yeah.
Commissioner items. This would be the opportunity to set items for the next,
Yes.
for future
I
events.
agree, but normally when you're on J1 and then you discuss that, then you have the commissioners discuss, and then it goes out to public comment. There's two different,
My
you know-
question is, are the public comments now or after we also
they would
present
be
the?
now.
Public comments on this,
Now.
on K.1 is
Yeah,
now.
you have to do it now.
Absolutely.
Okay, just
Okay.
clarifying,
But
sorry.
then we are going to come back.
Of course,
Okay,
yes.
thank you, thank you,
yes.
sorry.
Okay,
I was curious about that too.
yeah, go ahead, is there any,
Yes, we have some.
okay, wonderful.
Joan Irvine, District 1, but I'm actually making a comment for NRBBA and the Dine Around Artesia and Art Walk that's happening. This might be something that in the future you want to include. But for this year, they have an art walk August 13th and then September 10th. And it usually sells out and they do wristbands. But there's artists there. So besides having the Dine Around, the artists will be like Adele French, Ali Jason, Cindy Wicks, Dance One, Danielle Bergen, Erica Snow Robinson, Ginger Passant Elder, Joanne Garlow. And there's a number of artists that are going to be part of this. So if you're talking about doing a map of events that are going on that deal with art, then to have something around the Dine Around that is included in that. And I know it's going to be these are not going to be able to be included for this year, but that they do have one for August 13th and September 10th. So that if people are interested in doing that now, all you have to do is to go to nrbba.org and you can order it. But that would be something when you're putting a map together, since they always are doing this Dine Around, and now it's Dine Around and Art, that something like that should be included into kind of your events of what you're doing.
For the map.
Okay, so just wanted to let you know that. That's
you.
the email I got, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think it's really important that you guys do include your interest in the Veterans Park Library. Redondo Art Group has been around for probably 20 years, and that was one of our goals, is to do that, and it's been forever suggested. But They had another caterer in there that made a lot of money, and they held weddings, and there was just no way. Doesn't mean you may not, you might convince them otherwise, but yeah, Made for Meg is currently negotiating for that space. I think what would be helpful, though, is to insert the idea and say, wouldn't that be great if, like you mentioned, have art events there, or possibly art shows? That gets your foot in the door.
Yeah.
I don't know if that ultimately would be the best place for an art center. Maybe it would. Maybe there's other places in Artesia. Maybe there's AES, should that ever resolve. But I think that's a good idea to say, for no fee, we would like to be part of that space, because I don't know where else the money's coming from. I don't think that should come from, and I don't think it's appropriate to come from the John Parsons Fund, but just say for no fee, we would like to be part of that as an arts presentation. So that would be good. And also, Commissioner Tanner, to your point, you said you thought it would be great if the council was to partially fund the LGBTQ. I don't think that, again, Jack will clarify. I don't think it's appropriate to say that to them, because this is a sculpture that is public art. And this is why we established, as when I was still on the commission, that fund for that money to come out. Sure, morally or ethically, I should say, yeah, wouldn't that be a great gesture? I agree. But I don't, you'll let them know. I don't think that that is an appropriate thing to ask or to infer that they come up with part of the money. You guys are just going to ask for money for the sculpture, and good luck. I hope that, I hope it works.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for your discussion on the maps. I enjoyed that, and I heard a couple of things that I'd just like to maybe help with. There were two aspects. One is what would be the domain? Because what I've been talking about with the rest of the city is kind of like an access Redondo for commerce. I'm just kind of dreaming in that regard, but it's about commerce. Now, your interest is cultural arts. So the way you can kind of solve this problem is focus on what you would want. Because the way this would work is it may have all these aspects, but a person could come in and say, I just want to look at art in Redondo. That's all I want. So we filter everything else out of this application, and they can just see the art. So it's like the Philly map that you showed me, Christina. That doesn't have anything but the art. So you could look at it, just define what you want in your domain. And by the way, I'm not talking about an installing app. This is a website. It works just fine. A lot of things are like that nowadays. So it's kind of simpler to work with. So I would just say that if you're getting confused by all of the, how do we combine all this? Focus on your lane, and we solve that, and then we work on the other. Work with the others. And then what happens is we end up actually possibly having more functionality. But so we've satisfied what you need plus more. And that's the other thing I would say is when thinking about what you need, because somebody, I think it was Christina, who said we need to specify this, and that's exactly right. And I can help you if you like. I'm volunteering on this. I'm doing it as a community effort right now. And if any of you are in a frame of mind where you can say, I'd like to just dream about what we would like this to be, just give me a call, contact me. I'll sit down with you, maybe one or more, and you just lay it all out. In my dream world, this is everything. Then there's a process. I've been doing this all my career. There's a process where we go, well, we need to put this off, put this off, put this off, put this off. We come up with what we call the minimum viable product, which is the thing that's worth doing, because that's what we get done first. But the point is you do specify, this is what I want, and this is what this map should do, and then that's what we start to work with. So there are processes for doing these things. I just wanted to say that. I don't know if there are any other questions I could answer, but I'm Rick at mcqcorp.com. You got my email too, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rick.
You bet.
All right, would anybody else like to speak?
We have no e-comments.
We have no e-comments, okay. So now we have to make a motion to receive and file of that too, right? Again.
There wasn't anything to receive. Those were just
Nothing,
comments.
so it's okay. So now we're just going to go to commissioner member items and future commission agenda topics. Yeah? Would anybody like
Well,
to?
one, we got to talk about the Esplanade again. We got to bring that back up, like she
Yeah,
said.
cool.
So.
Yeah, so did you,
So I make a motion to agendize the discussion on artworks for the Esplanade.
I second
Can
it.
I add to that? To just, because she mentioned that in the context of LA 28, so maybe we can have a larger discussion, not only limited to the Esplanade, but, with the Esplanade and the art scene in preparation for the Olympic Games. It's up to you. If it's too general, then let's just stick
I think
to
that's a
Esplanade.
whole nother,
yeah,
I think that's a whole bigger,
nother-
It's a bigger
It's
one?
like, it's
bigger,
a
yeah,
concept
yeah,
approach.
yeah.
So
I would recommend doing this one separately simply
Yeah.
because it has a dollar figure already allocated to it. So I would keep it separate.
So again, I make a motion to have a discussion on the artwork on the Esplanade.
I second.
Second? Okay, motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
What else we got to deal with?
What else would you like?
I have some things that
Wonderful.
were discussed. So I feel like I make a motion to start a chalk art project.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
What else? Go
I
nuts.
have another one.
I'm sorry, may I ask, is that a discussion item? Is it,
For
you
future,
want to
right?
talk
You
about,
wanna
you want to
talk about-
discuss a chalk art program?
I want to make a chalk art program.
Okay.
Like a
Well, we have to discuss it first, so we would have to
so
agendize
then
it.
yeah, I'm agendizing, I guess, discussing it to begin a
We would like to agendize
yeah.
for a chalk art program.
Or may I suggest this, an alternative is you could form a subcommittee and just start working on it.
Yeah, I
And
wanna
then,
form a
then you could bring it
subcommittee.
back as a report.
Nice.
I love that idea. I would like to make a motion to form a subcommittee for a chalk art day.
And who will be on that committee?
And who?
Oh, I'll
fellow
be on the
commissioners.
committee.
Okay.
I'll
would
be
I-
on the committee.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, is Lawrence and,
Cool.
I love it.
Yay.
Anybody else would like to?
Yes, please. One.
What, no,
Oh.
would you like to be on the committee there?
No.
Okay, there can only be 3 on the committee.
I have another committee suggestion that I like to be on, so
There we go.
I'm gonna refrain from.
So
Okay,
close that
so
one.
we're,
close
okay,
this
so, okay, so are we all in favor? Is there a vote for that, right? We have to vote? So first I'm
I'm
vote?
sorry, what,
To vote for a committee?
Well, no, because she's making a motion, so we have to make a motion she's making a motion to have a subcommittee.
yeah, you'll need to
So we
vote.
have to motion that.
You need to move to do it?
Yeah,
Make a second?
Yeah.
Vote on it.
so who would like to, somebody,
I move that we have a subcommittee for the chalk art.
okay, who would like to second it?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, anybody?
Hold, you want to do your
Yeah.
discussion on the Olympic thing, right?
But before that, as a commissioner item, I'd like to mention that our neighbors, Manhattan Beach, is having their annual community exhibition opening this Friday at their Community Arts Center. As you may know, it's on Manhattan Beach Boulevard, across from the Polywalk Park. I served on their commission for some years, and it's typically a very good exhibition. And I think it would set a good example for us to what to do. It's open to everybody. It's this Friday. The opening is 5 o'clock, 5 to 8. If you have time, I'm going to be there. I think they are going to have about 130 artists from their community exhibiting. And they spend some money on that. They have their own budget outside of their public arts fund within the city general budget to spend on their art center.
Are any fellow commissioners are familiar with that? It's a great little center.
It is a very nice center.
It's very inspiring to have some.
Particularly this summer exhibition, because it's a community art exhibition, is something that we could take a closer look, so we can maybe bring similar ideas to the table here in Redondo Beach in the future. But the agenda item suggestion I like to make is basically a forming of a subcommittee to come up with a report or a list of suggestions as to the incorporation of artistic functions into large projects in Redondo Beach, specifically the power plant and the Galleria. With that, I mean is if we agree to have this discussion and form a subcommittee, we can look at what similar cities have done with abandoned or not used buildings, even if they belong to private parties. Because I really do believe that this is a big chance for Redondo Beach to finally own a museum or host a museum in two of these fantastic locations. So I'd like to make a motion now.
First, you have to get a.
Before I got a question. So your idea right now is to plan for this, because the guy just said the AES is still up for grab. They don't know what's going to happen to it.
The gallery is.
And then the galleries are the same thing.
Right.
So
if I may take 2 minutes of your time about this. Sure. I discussed this in two of the previous meetings. What I'm suggesting for the city to be aware of the fact of the power of art projects when it comes to the zoning and the licensing projects. Even if it's going to be a private ownership developed project, it eventually needs to be approved by the city, right? Mm-hmm. Typically in projects like that, municipalities, the owners are less resistant to projects when it involves art, because number one, it makes commercial sense for them. It's a high-class edition versus, for example, a park or a skate park or a playground or something like that. The city can say, okay, I'll let you to do this, but I want you to do a skate park. I want you to do this, but I want you to do a youth center. I want you to do this. I love you to do this, but we want a park in there, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to an art gallery or art project, they are interested in those things. And I want to make sure that the city is aware of such an option when it comes to, eventually developing those projects, because those are two important places that such an opportunity should not be missed. That's all my point. And I'll be more than happy to lead an effort to write a report on that, 3-4 pages. And if somebody wants to join me, I would love to do it in form of a subcommittee.
is that better served showing up to a council meeting though and then presenting it there? Mm-hmm. Like just having that, doing the work, having that and presenting it there versus...
I'll be happy to do that, but I think it would be probably more effective if it comes from the Cultural Arts Commission. I think it also lines up with our, newly adopted mission of making suggestions to the. I mean, again, you may not agree with, but at least we should be able to present to them examples of similar kinds, turning old railroad stations, old power factories, old factories into art centers, which really enhances and elevates the quality of life and business in almost every single community that they went into. I don't think they are really aware of that possibility. That's the only reason I'm bringing this up.
Yeah. My only argument is that, and I'm not arguing, I'm just saying that they don't know what they're going to do with that. And if you've ever seen all the plans, everybody's already dividing that up into houses just like the Galleria. Not that they don't know, but I think it's a little more direct if you show up to a council meeting and just hit them with a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
There's like work involved, right? Doesn't he need help with the work?
He does, that's what he's saying.
Why don't I do that? And I'll do that during
that's what I'm trying to figure out here is what's the
Because then
How
you
are
can
we
get
better-
more insight also, and then bring it back.
During those
too,
3
right?
minutes, I get my
Yeah,
insight.
and
If
well,
then
no,
I'll
I
come
mean,
back.
he can agendize whatever you
Right,
want, and
right,
we can
right.
do that too. I'm just saying, I'm trying to have a discussion about as far as like the overall, like, we don't know what's going to happen with that right now. They're to advert, you know, for us to say, hey, there's a great idea to put a museum here or a big Manhattan Beach style. Like, I want a museum in Redondo Beach. Hell yeah. I'd love to have a California super, you know, mammoth, that lens that they have in Manhattan Beach, have something like that. That'd be great. But is it bigger than the art commission?
Almost all the major
Yeah.
museums
Oh, I dig it, dude.
in LA,
I'm all for it.
they are short of space.
For sure.
Space.
We are very fortunate.
LACMA just built new galleries.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree.
They are looking for, you know, spaces, and I think Redondo Beach would be, given that there are no other museums, not only in South Bay, but not even in Santa Monica.
My only thing is attaching to the AES thing that we don't know about. That's my only.
Yeah, I understand.
So do you want to start a
maybe
subcommittee
part
for
of it is let's
research?
research
No,
that.
no, I'll withdraw my subcommittee idea. So.
Well, no, I don't want to
No, I
discard
understand, but I think your suggestion is much better,
So you
actually.
could just go right
Go
to
in front
council.
of the council and mention this.
And then I'll show up with you.
Yeah, I'll show up with you
That's
too.
what I'm saying.
Okay,
It's a
sounds
little
good.
more straight. Instead of 2 months, we meet 2
No,
months.
makes sense.
I could,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I'll help and show up with you.
That's it.
I have
thank you.
another thing to mention, just because it was mentioned earlier by, I'm sorry, I forget his name. I have it written down somewhere, but Jim Mueller came in. And so he was saying that he's not so happy with our consultants, and I think that that's worth bringing up. And, you know, that we want to make sure that we are still getting constant updates on that, and that he had suggested to create a citizen task force to replace the consultant. And I just didn't want to let that comment go without us bringing it back up, and then without us also making sure that we're agendizing this Artesia project every single time.
Nice.
So I make a motion to agendize discussing the Artesia art project with an update from the Labos group and the additional discussion of creating a citizens task force in association with this project.
Go ahead.
There is a
We
task
already
force
have a
being
task
created,
force.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already, yeah.
There is already a task
There's
force,
already a
right?
task force, and my understanding is that they are going to have community,
That was
people
part of
from
the
the
whole
community.
contract and everything that we
Right.
already
There
had.
is community outreach,
So,
there are
yeah, like, where
stakeholder
is
outreach
that?
on an
Who
individual
are
basis.
they?
Hopefully, when they come back, they're going to discuss that, but that's already been in the whole.
Yeah, but they're not,
There
they
will
weren't
also be a
here.
community
It's like the-
meeting
Yeah, like
and eventually
right.
community
You're right on
channel.
that part.
Right,
Just
but is there a way
tweak
for them to
your
update
motion, 'cause I
us
agree.
and to
I-
share
I-
who's on that community panel?
Ask for a
I
referral.
believe that the community panel will be largely selected by council and you guys, to the best of my knowledge. But we have to verify the fine tunings of
And
that.
can we agendize that, they make sure that they come to our next meeting? I mean, I think it's like imperative.
Yeah, like, that's.
Because we're not getting any
I can ask them.
feedback from them, and I think that we need to have representation since they're doing that, you know.
It takes us a long time.
For sure, because
We'll
I
have to see what
was
the
like
contract
that guy,
includes. A certain number of meetings will be certainly within the purview of the contract. Anything more, we have to be careful that it doesn't suddenly become an extra cost factor that wasn't accounted for.
Right.
Well, then we need like,
Contracts are
we
very
need like a
limiting.
packet from them or something, right? Like at every meeting, so that way we know their progress. Like we need some sort of written.
Yeah, practice.
May very well be
Like
doable.
progress
I will look into that.
And if they can't come, is it a possibility where at least we could have virtual?
Right, nice.
I will ask.
Okay.
We got all this
Yeah, that's
technology. That's a good one. They could have at least,
Yeah.
shown up in
Yeah.
the,
Or
for
even
sure.
if it was on,
Yeah, if they're not going to make it, then is that something we agendize that? Like,
That actually might have been my fault, is that in our last discussion, they said they didn't really have much to report yet, but I thought they were still coming this time.
Yeah,
And
they
there was a
should be
question
open
whether
for-
they would come every time,
Every time.
depending on whether they had something to
they
report.
should be
Absolutely.
available for our questions.
So I
Absolutely.
just simply might not have been clear on it.
And I'm not clear because I don't recall us voting or talking about any of the public people who are going to be on this task force.
I'm sorry.
I thought that, because did I misunderstand? I thought that you just said that we would have some say, or that we would at least be aware of who is going to be on this task force from the public?
Well, it's not really so much a task force. It's a community panel that will help select artists after the initial RFQ is put out for artists. There will be a large, obviously a large number of submissions, and it will there will be some community winnowing, and then from there, you will, the Cultural Arts Commission will be selecting the finalists to be submitted to the council for final selection.
Okay.
Cool. That was all in the.
And there will also be an open community meeting that along the way of this. Once they have their first draft of the path forward, their basic plan, how is this going to work, they will present that in a public forum.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciated his comments, except like my understanding is that those consultants were already chosen and they were just like, but when I got here as a commissioner.
Me too.
Yeah, like it was just a question of like going back to the contract and working out some of the bumps, but they were already chosen and there's already a contract being worked on.
Yeah, the contract the consultant had been selected. They were just working out the contract.
Okay.
But that was selected before I came on board this position.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, I just want to make the comment. The reason I was here when we did the consultant, I agreed with him, the gentleman that just spoke. I had that argument through the whole thing. Like, we have plenty of smart people here. To go to the other side now, just because we did it already, like we'd already, and everybody had agreed, the city council, to get a consultant or whatever that is. The idea being is that instead of having a hodgepodge of 20 different artists that aren't all the color gold or silver, is that there's a cohesive thought processes for every little piece that's going to happen there. And that kind of makes sense to me. It's like you want to have somebody marshaling all the little pieces. Do I agree with him? Yes, I do. I was here to argue that, but now that we're in it, we just got to hold them accountable more or less. I don't agree about letting them go. I'd be interested to see how far we can go, and then if we can drop them, but.
Yeah, and they have experience, right? So it's
Yeah.
like we want to bring people in that have experience. Like that's why they're chosen in the first place. And I agree with you, it'll be cohesive. But we have to, I think it's our like duty and our obligation to also make sure that our community is really involved in it, right? Like, and making sure that they show up for us and we'll show up for them, and it will be an even exchange. And if they're not here on the second time that we're supposed to see them, it's like a little disappointing for us not to see them and discuss it, because we're excited about this project and because we want to get people involved. And, you know, maybe that could have been actually a moment of success where we could have had Jim Mueller here and maybe he wanted to be part of the citizen task force, but now we've lost that opportunity because they weren't here, right? So I think it's like really important that we strongly encourage them to be part of this, because this is the area where we'll get those people that can be involved. And yeah.
Any other items, everybody?
I will say that tonight was one of the more community oriented, like there were more people in these seats than I've seen in a minute. So I think that's cool. Thank y'all for showing up and yeah, just showing up. Bring your friends. Thanks.
Do we want to do some motion involving LaBasse, or should I just be pressing them for whatever the contract will deliver to get them here?
Yeah, I would just.
At the very least, if they could just dial in.
I think that's something that is should always be at our meetings with that, because they're involved with.
I'll take this up with my director and find out from what the contract will allow us to push for, and we will push for all of it.
Yeah, there is the thing though, is if they're going to charge us nickel and dime us like lawyers for every 15 minutes to show up, then
we need to make sure that's not going to happen.
That's not appropriate, though. They took on this job knowing that we are here and they are there.
Right.
Like
I'm not saying they're going to do that, but I also don't know that, so I want to make sure.
Maybe we can
verify.
Yeah. Okay.
Then could we say that that's two things though? Could we say that one?
I don't think that necessarily needs to be. That's just
wouldn't that just be,
Do we need room for discussion at the next meeting about
Yeah,
this?
I'm just saying, should we agendize discussing the project? Your
Where it's
teacher
at.
public
Oh,
art
yeah,
project?
yeah, that's a good idea.
Definitely so.
Yeah.
So I think, I make
That's
a
a good-
motion to agendize a discussion with Labasse. Can we do that?
You can try that, or you can just simply say you request a regular update at every meeting on the project.
make a
And
motion
then
to
I will try
request-
and push
yes,
for them to be present for it whenever there's something useful for them to contribute.
I make a motion to request an update at every, if possible, commission or Cultural Arts Commission meeting to discuss the progress with the Artesia Corridor art project. So, yeah.
Agree. I second.
Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Okay.
May I also make a suggestion?
Yes,
That with any
please.
subcommittees you have, that you have an ongoing recurring item for subcommittee reports
Yes.
under item K, so that you can just
Yes.
make sure they already have the floor to do that each time?
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So-
absolutely.
So we're gonna
So
make a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to always, can I just do it with, in case we even have any extra subcommittees in the process, like that should be something that
subcommittees, you
always
All
say.
felt,
subcommittee
it kind of
reports.
fell through the loops in the past, but that should always be something where we could have a discussion every time with an update with the
It
subcommittee.
can, or it can be something as simple as a piece of paper saying nothing to report, or we've got this.
Yeah,
But it's
exactly.
so that it
Yes.
occurs every
Yes,
time.
yes, yes.
Okay, so, and second on that?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Who was the second on the
Juan
the
Melendez.
previous
Juan
LBP?
Melendez.
I'm sorry?
Juan Melendez.
Oh, so, okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? I think we're, okay. We're at L, adjournment. The next meeting of Redondo Beach Cultural Arts Commission will be regular meeting to be held at 7 PM on September 24th, 2025, in the Redondo Beach Council Chambers at 415 Diamond Street, Redondo Beach, California. And we are ending. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.